Hello and welcome to Mr. Mesure's Bees Part 3. Today I'm hoping to look into the hives. It's about 4 or 5 weeks since the last video and I'm hoping to find a queen in one hive and hopefully already there should be plenty of honey in the big hive. Big hive is very busy at the moment, as you can see, with plenty of bees coming in and out. And a lot of traffic down here. It's the 20th of July and you can see that the hive is very busy indeed. The other hive isn't quite so busy. That's because I'm hoping they haven't had a queen, so I'm hoping that they're making a new queen at the moment, and then of course that will get busier when the queen starts laying eggs and produces more bees. So I'm going to take the top off and have a look and see what's inside this hive. There you go. Use the hive tool to separate out the propolis that I mentioned, that glue. Let's get rid of the bees down here. And so far all I found is a lot of honey. There we are, can we see that white stuff covering the is actually sealed honey, so they're already making honey, and the shiny stuff is unsealed honey, so they're making a lot of honey. Okay, what we've got here are two really interesting things to show you. These two things here are queen cells. You see how they're very different, and down here is some normal brood. Now that is exactly what I was hoping to find. Lots of pollen stored and honey, but no more brood. It's just possible that this brood is the early larvae that I transferred from the other hive to give the hive a chance to make some new queens. So these might be the very first new queens. You can see that whereas all the other brood is in hexagon shapes and the eggs grow, the larvae grows in a horizontal cell, down here we can see, there's one there, we can see that the queen cells are much longer and they dangle down over the frame. So we're going to leave those there and hope that they hatch into brand new queens. Okay, so I'm going to put the queens back in, or the queen cells back in, and hopefully those two can fight it out between them, and I shall have a new queen in the future that will lay lots more eggs. So I'm putting these all back together. I'm going to leave it and check it out next week. That the way it goes, come on. So, put the dummy board back in. Put the lid on top. That's called the crown board. There we go. Mind, I'm going to squash you. Look out. So this is the second hive. This is the second super box that I've put on top. Oh, look at that. See that? They've made their own honeycomb in a gap that I left. Try and shake this off. Now let's have a look in here. Let's see what's in the first super, shall we? Come on girls, out the way, I want to have a look and see what honey you've made. Let's have a look. So, let's open that up. Oh, that's quite heavy. Oh goodness me, lots of honey. We have an awful lot of honey here, folks. Not sealed, not ripened, but clearly I need to make more frames because they're running out of space to keep the honey, which is great news if you like honey. Now can you see here, let's just see if you can see, yeah, if you can see here, some of this they're starting to seal off with white wax. That means it's finished and it's ripened honey. So we've got ripened honey. Now I only put this empty frame on, more honey. There's an awful lot of honey there. This is great news when it comes to extracting the honey. It's got about 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, until I'll be extracting it, in which case they've got plenty of time. Yep, it's all full. I desperately need to make more frames and put more frames. In fact, I may even put another super on top, another box, so with another 10 frames in, because they're making honey very, very quickly. If you're a beekeeper, you call that the honey flow. So they're making it now very quickly. This is the 20th of July. And you can see the honey's being dripped on it. And yeah, this is all full of honey. I only put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames. I should have put 10, and they're really ready for another box of 10. So I'm going to leave that for the time being. No need to upset them there. Okay, so that's the first super. Let's take this one off. And lift this one off here. There we go. Oh, that's heavy, which is great news. Now this one, gonna have to get rid of that, guys. Sorry, very sorry. Just go over there. This is all above the queen excluder, so we should be able to find still just honey with no brood. Yep, and you can see, look at that, that's perfect, that's what we want. All the honey's finished, ripened, the bees have evaporated it down and they've turned it into honey, and then they seal it off with the white wax. This is all looking very good, but I'm not going to look at them. I'll look at the other end because they tend to work from the middle outwards. A little smoke, I think. There we go. Yep, it's all ripened honey. That's ready to be extracted, which is brilliant because we've still got a few weeks left. I'm going to move the next box and just check that the brood's okay. I'll stick that glue. There we go. Oh, that's heavy too. Right, let's have a look inside the brood box where all the queen is making more babies, I hope. Come on, bees. Just get off just for a minute. Right, let's have a look in here and just check the condition of the brood. Make sure we're all okay. Well, the first brood frame just had brood in it, which means the queen is very busy. Well, there's less brood there. And there's still more honey there. Let's look further down. We could find the queen, but it's not important because I think it's quite obvious that the queen is keeping very busy. There's that lovely brown hexagon shape again. Well, the whole brood box is absolutely jam-packed full of larvae. I didn't actually see any eggs, but that's because I've got sweat running into my eyes, so there may well be eggs there. There's definitely larvae there, and the queen, even though I didn't actually spot her today, you've seen her in a previous video, is doing her job perfectly. So now I'm going to put the queen excluder, which will keep the queen down in the brood box. There we go. I'm not squashing any bees. And I'm going to put supers back on here. On it goes. Oh. There. Make sure that's in line. We'll put the second super full of honey back in for the time being. Okay, so I've just been and got a few more super trays. These are empty ones left over from last year when I extracted the honey last year. I'm just going to get rid of some of these. Come on, girls. You need to make room so that you can have room to make more honey. There we go. One. Out of the way. Oops. There you go. And two. So that's now 10 frames in there. I won't jam another one in. There we go. And this is another box which is nice and light at the moment, but it's going to become hopefully heavier when, let's have a look inside and see. There we go. Look, they've pulled up already. That's quick, isn't it? Nice empty honeycomb ready for the new honey to be put in it. Put the lid on. There we go. The crown board, actually it's called a glass quilt, but that's just beekeeping jargon for the lid. So you can see the hive is getting taller and taller as they make more and more honey. Put the lid on, and we'll come back and check that one out in about a week or so's time. So you can see the big hive has got even bigger. It's got an extra white guard around the outside, what we call the lifts. Just by comparison, there's the other little one where we're still struggling to get a queen. To be honest, I don't expect to get any honey out of that hive this year, but maybe next year. Let's have a look at this honeycomb that they made in the space. See the glistening of the honey that hasn't quite ripened. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to melt that wax down, but beeswax is used for all sorts of things like candles and furniture polish, etc. This is the next morning, and I thought you'd be interested to see what happened to that honeycomb that I took out. The bees have managed to take out all of the honey. It is just an empty shell, and they've returned the honey back over into the hive.